So guys, in this next news story, 4 people have been found guilty of the callous and cold-blooded murder of 2 men after their car was rammed off a dual carriageway during a high-speed chase. Saqib Hussain and Mohammed Hashim Ijazuddin, who were both 21, died instantly when their vehicles rammed off the A46 near Six Hills in Leicestershire during the early hours of 10th of February last year, crashing into a central reservation barrier and a tree. Mr. Hussain, who was a passenger in the car, had made a 999 call just seconds earlier stating they were being chased by people in balaclavas being rammed off the road and that they were going to die. A murder investigation was launched which led to Mahek Bukhari, who was a TikTok influencer, her mother Ansreen Bukhari, Rais Jamal, Rekhan Karwan, Sanaf Ghulam Mustafa, Amir Jamal, Natasha Akhtar and Mohammed Patel all being arrested and charged with the murder of Mr. Hussain and Mr. Ijazuddin. However, today, following a trial at Leicester Crown Court, Ansreen Bukhari, Mahek Bukhari, Rais Jamal and Rekhan Karwan were found guilty of the murders of Saqib Hussain and Mohammed Hashim Ijazuddin. I just want to say rest in peace to both the victims and my condolences go out to their families. Sanaf Gul Mustafa, Amir Jamal and Natasha Akhtar were found not guilty of murder but were found guilty of manslaughter of Mr. Hussain and Mr. Ijazuddin. Mohammed Patel was found not guilty of murder and not guilty of manslaughter.
A Seattle Leon, don't know the model or anything, but it was blue, come straight down, no speed, nothing, normal, on the right hand side. We were always on the left hand side. This right hand side car's come now, the Leon, the blue one, has come straight next to me and come right in front of me, not very close. I've always said to myself, I'm a very good driver when it comes to this. I've been driving for 5 years, 45 years, and I've said to myself, always keep a 2 to 3 second rule gap, always, when I've said to myself, always done that. So this car's come not close, I've always braked. So I was doing 60, it was 70, I think it was 70 on the dual carriage or 60, I was doing 50 straight away, went back, went to 50 to 60, went back. This car didn't do anything to me. I don't know who, just a normal car going on the right to the left. The silver car, I don't know which brand it was, model, it's come zooming down. I've kept this 2 to 3 second rule gap, and the blue Leon's in front, and I'm at the back. This silver car's come and cut into the middle, so we're basically all 3 cars very close. I braked and I said to my mum, what is this car trying to do? And my mum saying, May, just keep your distance, everything's going to be okay, it's okay. Just a reckless few people, just reckless because they know it's all the way down. If there's any cameras, there's going to be cameras. They must know there's no cameras. So they've gone all the way down, they've cut into my car. I've kept my distance, I braked. I think got to at least 40 because there was no cars behind me. Going to 40, this car was not threatening me, but agitating the blue car. So the blue car went onto the right lane, which is the overtaking lane, and the silver car went onto the right lane with the same car as the blue. So then the blue car went onto the left and the silver car kept to the left, and it was just harassing. Like the blue car was trying to let you go, like go, you can go now because I'm letting you, but this silver car was not letting the blue car go. So I was thinking, okay, well, they're not agitating me, they're not trying to put me off my driving, I'm going on my left lane, I'm further away from these cars. So like I said, they were doing their own thing. I've gone past on the right lane now, the blue car's in front always, the silver car was behind. I've gone past and I've gone further away from this car on the left side, and then the blue car has caught up with me on the right side. I don't know who they are, I didn't even see the silver car as well. And the silver car, all I hear is like a you can hear like a bang, but not a big bang. It was like you hit behind me, basically. The silver car's hit the blue car at the back like a touch, but you can tell the blue car has gone a bit faster. So I've looked at my mum and I goes, Mum, what is going on? What is wrong with, are they, I don't know if they're drunk, what are they trying to do to this blue car in general? So my mum goes, May, like I said, leave it, you're not involved, you don't know what's going on, you just go straight on and leave it. I goes, okay, that's fine. This blue car's gone straight now, and this silver car's gone behind, and as soon as I said, Mum, as soon as we see a slip road, we're gonna go to a slip road. We've gone forward, and the silver car's hit the back of the blue car. The blue car, see, like, Leon's gone, completely gone. As soon as I've turned around, this silver car's gone. Out from the, I didn't see, all I've seen is they've hit, and all I see is right, like a swerve. The silver car swerved to not my side, to the other side of the dual carriageway where the metal bits are, basically. And I didn't see the car after that. I didn't hear a bang. Apparently there was mentioned there was a tree. I didn't see no tree. I didn't see anything. I've gone straight on. I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, what? I was just in shock.
Inquiries were carried out during the murder investigation, which showed Mr. Hussain had been in a relationship with married mother Ansreen Bukhari for around 3 years. After Ansreen Bukhari tried to end the affair, Mr. Hussain made threats to expose the relationship to her husband and to share images and videos of Ansreen Bukhari. Ansreen Bukhari had offered to pay back money which Mr. Hussain had spent on her during the relationship, and it was arranged for Mr. Hussain to meet with Ansreen Bukhari and her daughter, the TikTok influencer Mahek Bukhari, who knew about the affair. However, Ansreen and Mahek Bukhari arrived at the arranged meet-up point in the Tesco car park in Hamilton in Leicester, along with 6 other defendants. So the 8 defendants were in 2 vehicles, which was an Audi TT and a Seat Leon. Mr. Hussain then arrived at the car park in a Skoda Fabia, being driven by his friend Mr. Ijazuddin, who said he would take him. CCTV footage showed the Skoda Fabia arrive in the car park and then immediately leave. The Audi TT and Seat Leon followed the Skoda out of the car park 2 minutes later. The cars then ultimately ended up in a chase before the 999 call was made by Mr. Hussain. The collision itself was not captured on CCTV. Inquiries carried out by a force forensic collision investigator showed the Audi TT reached speeds of up to 100 miles per hour during the chase. The speed of the Skoda at the time of the collision was estimated at being in excess of 80 miles per hour. Damage found on the front of the Seat Leon was found to be consistent with colliding with the rear of the Skoda Fabia. The impact of the collision was found to have caused the Skoda to split into 2 and the engine of the car to detach from the body. Both victims died immediately from multiple injuries prior to the fire taking hold. Both the Audi and the Seat Leon were found to have driven past the crashed vehicle before later driving back the collision site, and none of the defendants called 999. Ansreen Bukhari, Mahek Bukhari and Akhtar were arrested during the same morning of the collision, with Raish Jamal and Karwan being arrested 3 days later. Amir Jamal and Ghulam Mustafa were arrested in March. Senior investigating officer in the case, Detective Inspector Mark Parrish, said this was a callous and cold-blooded attack which ultimately cost 2 men their lives. After setting Mr. Hussain and Mr. Ijazuddin up, chasing them at high speed and then ultimately ramming their cars off the road, none of the defendants made any attempt to help the victims or to call for help. Instead, they drove on, and then one even drove back past the collision site. Still, no one attempted to offer any help or call 999. As the defendants found guilty were arrested, charged and stood before a court, lies were continually told in order to try and cover their tracks. Their only concern during the whole incident investigation had been for themselves. My thoughts at this time remain Mr. Hussain and Mr. Ijazuddin and their families, and the past 16 months has been an extremely difficult and heartbreaking time for both families. They have not only had to come to terms with losing a family member in the most horrific way, but they've then had to hear the extremely distressing details of this in court, waiting for justice to be done, and my heartfelt thanks goes to them for their bravery, support and cooperation throughout this time. The investigation was an extremely complex case which involved officers from across different forces working together to ensure quick action was taken, that the full facts were established and that those responsible were quickly brought into custody. I want to thank every officer and staff member that has been involved in this investigation, from the initial response to the investigation and court hearing. He said your professionalism and dedication helped lead to this result here at court. So Ansreen Bukhari, who's 46, Mahek Bukhari, who's 24, Raish Jamal, who's 23, Rekhan Karwan, who's 29, Sanaf Gul Mustafa, who's 23, Amir Jamal, who's 28, and Natasha Akhtar, who's 23, have all been remanded into custody and are due to be sentenced on Friday, the 1st of September. So guys, I'm just going to go to this a little bit more further, and It's with regards to Mahek Bukhari and when she admitted lying to police during her court appearance. So she was questioned with regards to how she first met Saqib. So Mahek said, Scion Lounge messaged me on Instagram for a food review promotion I visited. They would give me free food and drinks if I reviewed the food on Instagram and post it. It was me and my mum and my 2 cousins. I would visit my cousins regularly. She said, back in 2021, I had an Audi A1. My mum was allowed to use my car. She was insured. The car was damaged outside my home and I was given an Audi TT courtesy car. She said, I would go to restaurants to earn money. My mum is my best friend. I feel more safe around her and she understands social media, so I could just chill with my mum. She added, she would come with me on most occasions. We would use hotels to stay away from home. It would usually happen on the weekends. We would go Friday and come back on a Sunday. So Mahek said she met Saqib Hussain at Scion Lounge. The meeting was not pre-arranged and Mahek says he could have seen a post on social media. She said, that's how my followers know where I am and my followers can turn up at any time. I do not know the situation of why Saqib turned up. The prosecutor asked, what was the experience for you? She replied, I was approached by a group of men and they sat around the table and he basically invited himself. He was asking questions. He mentioned I was on TikTok. A lot of questions were about where I was from and what my income was, but I don't really trust anyone. There were 4 of us ladies and 4 strangers who were men turned up to sit with us. It was an uncomfortable situation and they were sat there for an hour. She was then asked what happened to the payment of the bill and she said we had gone £80 over budget and as soon as I had gone over, they said Saqib Hussain had paid for it, but I later paid the money myself. She added, as soon as I had left, my mum said Mr. Hussain was just a friend, had turned up. So the meeting in Scion Lounge was back in August 2020. She said I never met him again. He next made contact in the beginning of 2021. He wanted promo work on how to make quick money. He had his username for his business on there. I then charged it for him. I expected to pay and he paid me. Around £500 was paid to me by him to promote his business on social media. However, after that, an image with Mahek Bukhari's head was created by Saqib Hussain. She said he posted it on TikTok that was sent around the world globally. 2 pictures were posted. One of them was my face. It was the same naked body but with different faces on. Mahek told the court, I didn't show my mum. It was fake. I was embarrassed. It was ruining my reputation. I posted it on my Instagram and told my followers to report the post and block the account. Saqib already admitted it was him. He had mentioned at the end of 2021 that he had been making images of me. He admitted making it to me via my text messages. He said he wanted attention, so my mum, Ansreen, would reply to him. He started harassing me at the end of 2021. He was wanting the money he gave me for the promotional work back. He wanted the £500 back. He was posting and commenting on my live video saying your mum is having an affair. He was doing it to try and get my attention. I spoke to my mum about it. She first said it didn't happen and denied it. He had sexual images of her, which I showed her, and then she admitted it to me. She told me about the relationship and wanted to end it and get on with her life. Before she had made a mistake and felt really bad about it. It broke me finding out because she loves my dad. Then a number of accounts started to bombard me. They were ghost accounts. She said I blocked most of the accounts and her mum wanted to end the relationship after admitting fling was a mistake. She also spoke about the affair saying, I just wasn't accepting it. I was just broken. I have always had the perfect family. We are such a small family. My dad loves my mum so much. What was the reason for dad not showing you enough emotion? Questions were going around my head. Why did you do what you did? I was drained by the situation. It was bringing my energy down because me and my mum were so close. It was confusing. I've always been there for her. My mum was crying every day. We worked at home at the time. I would get her breakfast and she would tell me I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. Mahek said Saqib was unstable. My mum would call him psycho. He said during the message he was a crazy bastard. He said he would come down to our home in Stoke with his friends and abuse was given down the phone. He said he would do everything he could to break my mum and dad's relationship. She said we wanted to get a restraining order on Saqib, but mum didn't want the police coming to the house because then the affair would be known by my dad. Mahek then told the court, we were advised to give him no attention at all, block him and stop taking his calls and messages. However, my mum didn't block him. She was scared of what he would do. She was then asked, how were you feeling on January the 4th? What made you angry? She said, I was angry. Saqib was being disrespectful to my mum. She was then asked, the threat was to be jumped by guys. Was that carried out? And she said, no, it wasn't. She later sent 3 messages on January the 4th. It was messages to get people to do various things. Mahek replied, I had no intention of carrying that out. She admitted things got worse in the weeks that followed. Then they ran through a timeline of messages. On February the 8th this year, Saqib said he had mates with him and Mahek believed he was going to do something really violent towards her family. Messages included Saqib was going to be the fucker and send the explicit intimate videos of her mother to her brother. Saqib said the messages were making him fucking crazy. He then threatened to send messages to Mahek's father. This was the moment Mahek said she contacted Rekhan Karwan. He is someone I can trust, said Mahek. It was to do with the threats for money from Saqib. She said, I gave Rekhan Saqib's number and he spoke to Saqib following a text message exchange. I told Rekhan I was being hounded for money. I did not tell him about the true problem with mum. I was embarrassed, so I made it my personal problem. I didn't want to say, oh, just to let you know, I have a problem with my mum. Mahek said Karwan was not successful in his conversations. Saqib messaged saying, give me the money or not. I call the shots. Saqib later said he would come from Banbury to their home and wanted the money. Mahek told the court, we wanted to go there and travel to Loughborough in the messages, but I didn't want to go. I thought Loughborough was in Leicester, sorry. We were organising about the money. I was worried about the money. I told Rekhan I was going to Leicester. The money was not going to be handed over. The message shows it was a done deal from myself. Later on the evening, it was £2,000. He wanted £500, which is just a small part of it. She said Saqib spoke to my mum on the phone about one of the messages sent. He thought we were setting him up. He messaged saying, you are going to see what happens. Mahek said, I thought he was going to come to my house and cause violence. She also spoke about driving at over 100 miles per hour in an Audi, and she said she was at those hurtling speeds to Leicester from her home in Stoke because she had an urgency to get there before Saqib would come up to Stoke. She drove over 100 miles per hour to reach Leicester within the hour. She said, I wanted to feel protected, so Rais Jamal and Rekhan Karwan came too. I was scared. I didn't want to feel like there was violence. Mahek said that she did not know the other man, Mohammed Hashim Ijazuddin, who died in the vehicle with Saqib. Mahek also stated that with regards to the people that were there, she did not see any balaclavas, but Mohammed Patel had a neck scarf. She was asked, what do you believe was going to happen next? She says, I don't know. She was asked, was he going to be attacked? She said, no. Were you going to harm or kill him? She replied, no. Mahek also went on to say, I made a call to Saqib on my mother's phone. My mum mentioned there was an unsaved number on her phone she did not recognise. It was constant calls from an unsaved number. I suspect the number was to do with Saqib. I got through. She says the cars were getting faster and faster. The Audi was driving at high speeds up to the Seat in pursuit of the Skoda. She said, he was calling me a slag. I was swearing back. He then cut me off. She was then asked, did you at any point say, watch what I do to you? Was that said during the phone call? Mahek said, he didn't say that. He said, watch what I go to. I'm going to expose you. She was then asked, can you shed any light what a send it man means? Mahek replied like faster, faster, faster. I noticed the car I was in, the Audi, was going faster and faster. I was sat in the rear, my mother was in front. She was asked, what was your view? She said, I didn't have much visibility, but I could see. I wouldn't really call it a pursuit, but the car was being driven really, really fast. I told the driver to slow down. She was asked about the Skoda vehicle. She said it was driving fast, erratically driving in and out of lanes, adding, I couldn't see the Seats from where I was sat. She was then asked, was there any contact between the Skoda and the Audi you were in? She said, no, there wasn't, but we were jolted to the side. Mahek stated, I did not see the Skoda crash or go into the central reservation. I did not see it because I had turned away. I did not hear the sound of the incident. Anyway, once the incident happened and they were coming back round again, Mahek was asked about the vehicle on fire. She said, I was confused by the flames. I didn't want to think the worst about Saqib. I wanted to think he was okay. Is he fine? Is he fine? I froze. I didn't know what to do. Mahek said that the occupants of the vehicles travelled back to Leicester in silence. They had parked up for an hour after the double fatal crash, and CCTV picked up the TikTok star Mahek and her mum Ansreen towards the back of the group. Mahek told the court she just went to Nottingham as she told the police story. Mahek said, when the police asked, I just said, yeah, we just been to Nottingham. Mum was shocked, she was shaking, I was comforting her. I don't really show my feelings on the outside, I just froze inside. She was asked, had it been suggested to say to the police Nottingham as to where you had been? Mahek replied, no, not then. It was just near. I then decided to drive back to Stoke. She said, my father and brother were asleep in the house in the early hours. I went to sleep. When I woke up, I had loads of missed calls. Mahek said she was on the phone to a co-accused who's called Risky Rais Jamal. And Risky said, just say it was me and my mum in the car, and we said okay. I said that because I didn't want anyone else involved. It was a private matter between me and mum. Secondly, I was too embarrassed about my mum's affair. She was then asked, did you tell her lots of lies? And she said, yes, I told her lots of lies. I was just so embarrassed with the whole situation. I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to tell anyone. It would go straight to my dad and wreck the whole family. She was then asked, did you ever say ram him while you were on the A46? She said no. Did you intend to take Saqib Hussain's life? She said no. Once again, I just want to say rest in peace to the victims, and my condolences go out to their families. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.